Hi everybody, I'm Maverick O'Sullivan, and today I'm going to tell you some Dagger Here stories. Now Dagger Here is basically LARP for adults. It is medieval fight club, if you will. And I am dressed in one of my outfits that I like to wear for Dagger Here. I wanted the hat to look kind of like a jester mixed with a rejected Sonic character. I think I really hit the nail on the head on that one. And I've got, the thorned chaos circle and all that. Because my character, he's chaotic neutral. And, red and black, Deadpool, it just all goes together. And I even got my weapons to match up. Some of them have a nice flame design. Others are red, black, or both. Anyway, I'm going to tell you about some interesting stories. I'm also going to teach you how to do this. So by the end of this video, you should know how to do that. And you'll still need practice. You'll know how, but you'll need practice to coordinate it. A lot of funny things happen in Dagger Here. One time, so I'm just on the ground. I've got one arm. And it's like, if someone kills me, I can go respawn with all my limbs. And so this one guy comes up, and he's gonna give me a hug. Now this is one of my opponents and everything. He has his arms open to give me a hug. I put my arm around him like hello, and then he's got the dagger. He pulls out and goes stab, stab, stab. I'm like, thank you. I could go respawn now. But yeah, it's there's silly things that happen. One of my favorites, though, we had over 100 people on both sides of the field. Like this, some of these things get pretty amazing. And I was going around one side, like there's a lot of focus in the center. I've got my quarterstaff, and I'm going around. I'm like, I'm flanking you. And what happens is there's two people who see me. One of them is an archer, and he has an arrow trained on my head. The other has a typical sword and shield. They're watching me come around as I'm going, I am flanking you. And the guy with the sword and shield, what I do is I kind of sync my motions with his. And then I start to lead the motion. I'm like, and he does the same thing. And he's just mirroring me now. And as I got him doing that, and I got the guy with the arrow right back there, and this guy, he's walking right in front of the guy about ready to shoot me. I wait until right before he moves between us, and I do this. What? Perfect timing too, because the guy lets loose with the arrow as the other guy steps right between us. It hits him, bam, right in the back of the head. I lose it. I fall down laughing. I'm like, I can't believe that actually worked. It was hilarious. And my character is kind of a bit of a jester, so it fits so perfectly. As a jester, one of the things I love to do is take people's weapons and kill them with their own weapon. Sometimes, though, I mess with them. There was this one lady, she had been legged, and so she's down on one knee, and I sneak up. I just take her sword. I'm like, thank you. I start going off, and she's like, seriously? I'm like, I'm just kidding. I go over, and I kill her with it. I'm like, go ahead, go respawn with your limbs. Oh my God. But because I like to do this, there's one instance in which I got offended. So it was a 4-on-4 battle. And my other teammates got themselves killed. And they managed to kill one of our opponents. So it was 3 against me. And the archer shoots my arm. Thing is, when I was doing this, I was using my glaive. This big handy dandy weapon right here. Yeah. And this padded section, that right there is the area that you hit with. It starts right here. Trying to wield this with one arm, not very effective, so I drop it. I start to reach for my dagger that I got on my side. And bear in mind, I'm using my left arm. I'm right-handed. So I start to grab for the dagger. Someone picks up my glaive. Oh, no. That is mine.
Believe it. He stole my move.
I'm the guy who kills people with their own weapons. This guy, he takes it, swings it. Me? At this point, I have a few options. I can get hit and die. I can jump back out of range. But I take a different option. I weave in and grab this right here as he's swinging and just stop it one-handed right below the actual blades so I don't get killed in the game. I don't lose my hand in the game. I stop the full baseball swing with one hand. Then I start pulling him between me and the archer because I don't want to get hit by the archer again. So I'm pulling him between me and the archer, using him as a human shield. Because here's what I say about a meat shield. A meat shield is the same size and shape as a human body, so what better to use to protect a human body? And anyway, I'm using him as a shield after stopping the weapon. And it takes the third guy to come around, hit me in the back before I actually go down. And it's not until I start walking away, I'm like, oh man, I lost. I'm looking at people, they're like, dude, that was bad ass. I'm like, it's not until retrospect, I'm like, even though I lost, I'm like, oh, I guess it was. It was just second nature for me. I was a little upset because they're trying to do my trick. I was going around with my bow and arrow, and I left my dagger behind. See, my dagger, when you got bow and arrow and someone closes in close, you got to have a backup. So, I have the dagger so I can stab, just in case they close in. I didn't have it. So someone closed in on me that day. Well, a lot of people did. But I started a new habit. I threw my bow and arrow aside. I grabbed the person's arm, start taking their weapon away and kill them with it. One time, though, someone saw what I was doing. So I instead, we're face to face, and I just go, I'm keeping his arm from swinging a sword at me with this arm, and I'm using this arm, just to keep him held and everything. And I'm like, get him, get him, get him. I pull him back a ways so I can get one of my guys to kill him and everything. Another time I tried to do that, though, I was behind enemy lines. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to create a diversion so that, I'm going to get as many of the opponent's team members as I can to focus on me so my team members can get around to the objective. So when I pull this guy like this, I fall back and use him as a meat shield. Every time someone tries to attack, I'm moving him in the way. And bear in mind, this guy is like 50 to 100 pounds more than me. So he's a better shield. Oh my God. Good times. Good times. I'm really sad about this that, the Dagger Here events have been canceled because of the pandemic. But, you got to do what you got to do. Another excellent story is I was, using a bow and arrow. I didn't have my dagger. And it was an entirely different day. We were doing more of an elimination battle, no respawns, just, one team versus another. It got down to me and two other people. These two other people were at least 50 pounds more than me each, right? I got legged. I ran out of arrows. So, and I can't go running around and fetching arrows because I'm legged. So I toss it to the side. I start going towards the opponent of mine who was also legged. The other guy has all his limbs, but he's further back. So I'm like, just on my knees, moving forward, trying to get over to him. And he's got a sword and shield. And I wait for him to try and throw a shot with the sword. I push his shield in the way of the attack, and then I start grabbing for his sword. He lets go of the shield. We're both grabbing at it like this. And the other guy's gotten closer. He's also got a sword and shield. And I'm using this guy, angling him between me and the other guy. And so this other guy, he's got to kind of go like this to get around to get me in the back. And right when he goes like that, boom, I grab his sword. And so right now, they both have taken their hands off of their shields. They both have 2 hands on each sword, and I have 1 on each sword. I'm just like, Rah! I pull this guy over the other guy. Rah! And they're like, how are you this strong? I'm like, because reasons. I'm a jester. Expect the unexpected. It's like, if it was unexpected, you should have expected it. Right after I got my quarterstaff, I was testing it out on a more veteran player. I've got this hooked up to my back. You see it's got the straps for it. And so I'm using that to protect my back. At one point, I bring up the quarterstaff like this, blocking a shot, put my backpack shield towards him like this. I pivot around, and as I come around, I swing that quarterstaff, plop, get him in the back with it. He's like, what just happened? Now, bear in mind, this is only like my second year doing this, and he's a veteran character. And so naturally, people start like exaggerating this. They're like, oh yeah, newbie just got you with a full-on spin attack. What you got to know, spin attacks are incredibly ineffective because if I'm just jumping, wah, I've just exposed my back. I've left a million openings, and this entire swing is being telegraphed. Like, spin attacks are horrible. Now, what I actually did was a pivot, and I had a back shield. It was a very coordinated attack. But all the same, I mean, he's a veteran player. You'd think he'd have stopped it. And this became like this tall tale. We just kept coming up with a weirder and weirder scenario. It's like, hey, did you hear about how he got taken down by some 8-year-old girl with a full spin attack? It's like, in this girl, she had asthma and she had crutches, and like we just came up with this long explanation of just how terrible he failed against a newbie. Oh my God, I love him so much. I'm not gonna say any names or anything. I've not asked them about that, but it's he's an excellent person. I love you, man. I love you so much. You're great. He's always been welcoming to me ever since from day one. That's one thing, is that Dagger Here groups, some of the most welcoming people. I'd like to give a shout out to my weaponsmith, Siegfried of Sweet Feet Foam. See, this isn't a paid advertisement. This is just a very satisfied customer. Now, I have shopped around a bit, and I'm a very comparative shopper, and I can tell you with certainty, Siegfried is an artist. Like, I will only go to Sweet Feet Foam for my weapons because they, number one, they last. I've had some of his stuff since I started, and it's barely even showing any wear and tear. So already, when you don't have to replace a weapon, you've already doubled or tripled its value. But he's very adamant about making sure they pass the requirements, the safety inspections, and that they're effective. Like right here, this sword right here, it's well balanced. It just cuts through the air. You can be a lot faster with this than a lot of other weapons out there. A lot of people, they don't realize what all goes into this. But I'm telling you, if you want to play Dagger Here, Get your weapons from Sweet Feet Foam. I guarantee you'll be glad you did. What I'm about to tell you is a trick that by all means shouldn't work. It's so stupid that it somehow managed to work repeatedly. If you see me on the field with my quarterstaff and I'm taunting you like I'm riding a pony, stand back. What I'm about to do is I'm about to do a foot sweep motion, but I'm going to be dipping this way down, putting it by the ground. So instead of just the length of my leg, you've got this whole thing coming towards your foot. Now you're going to want to jump back. And then as I come around, stab right in the chest. It's worked way more than it should. It's just like, I guess I'm just too stupid to anticipate. I don't know. Don't underestimate a jester, because some of the stuff is just so stupid you can't anticipate it. I mean, come on. I'm killing people with spin attacks and horsey rides. Oh, I should call it the cavalry. First, you want to be able to do this, where you're just kind of relaxing your hand, letting your sword just ease on by. You get used to this. That's step one. Next is that you got to do both sides, like this. And you'll get better at it over time. It takes practice. Then start doing it with your other hand. Just start off with the same first motion, get used to it, and then get used to the other way. Just until you can go back and forth with it. It's a little harder in your offhand. It'll take a while to get used to it. But eventually, you'll get to the point where you want to try and do it in both hands. We got going like this and this. This and this. And then after you just go back and forth like that a few times, I want you to kind of move them both like this and then like that. So it's just a flowing. You're going like this, like this. It's the same thing. So then you'll start to see, you know, like when you got a sword character in a show, and like wah 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 wah. Then, if you want to take it to the ultimate conclusion, and you get a pair of yardsticks or something, you're going to want to get the right feel. Oh yeah, it is a little bit different. Here's my quarterstaff. So if you got a quarterstaff, you know, you can do the flurry like this. It's not very effective in actual combat, because the moment they stop it, you know, like they stop it somewhere, you kind of are at a bad situation. Quarterstaffs are best used when you got some leverage. You know, but anyway, you know, a lot of you can probably do this. Garb. Anyway, a lot of you can probably do this, but if you tried to do that like I was doing with those two double swords, quarterstaff's too long to do it with two. Which is why I was very specific about the measurements in my double swords. I actually wanted the handles to be a little longer and the padding to be a little shorter, but my weaponsmith Siegfried, he knew that these have to be 18 inches to pass. So it's a good thing I've got a weaponsmith who cares. Anyway, so then you'll start doing this, just like when you had the swords. And this black part right here, I'm going to use that like the sword. So you got the sword, you see how it dips, back and forth. And then you'll do it with this one. Now here's an important thing. Notice I'm going down, 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 down. You want to do the exact same thing. Down, 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 down. Because that's a downward motion on your opponent. Down, down. I mean, you can do it you know, upwards too. But you want both of them doing the same thing. So if you're doing upwards, you want both of these to go upwards. If you're going downwards, you want them both to go downwards. So, you know, you'll get used to doing them on each side. And then you'll start to be able to bring them a little bit closer. Now notice I'm just kind of flowing like this. This comes on the inside, on the inside. Notice how that part that's leading comes through the inside, like that. But you don't want to hit yourself either. You don't want to come in too much. So it's a very delicate balance. As you get better, eventually you can start doing this faster. And it feels good. It looks good. Now I'm going to switch it for the effect so that they got the different color on top. See if that looks any different. And that is the double sword flurry. It's really fitting to my chaotic character. Maverick O'Sullivan, at your service. Feel free to enjoy the videos there or there, and I'll just stay right here. I'm Maverick O'Sullivan, and I appreciate you. Because they'll just jump back, stab.